We are having technical difficulties everywhere tonight. I was silent. So happy Monday, everybody. Here we go. Let's try this again. We are, like I said, having some technical difficulties on Facebook. So if you're trying to tune in on Facebook, well, they probably won't hear me. You'll have to share this from YouTube. So I just shared it on my page and I'm going to share it on the Tea Time page. Give me a second. One second. All right, gotta go in here. But like I said, we're gonna get into the tea time announcements a little bit. Like I said, we have some great stories coming up. Next month, I am actually gonna take an episode and cross my fingers. My son is going to join me. I'm super, super excited for that one. That will be towards the end of the month. We are going to share our story about his journey with autism and just knowing that there is hope. There's a great journey as long as you can understand those individuals and their uniqueness. But my cousin, Rachel Johnson, who I got to interview, she will be our first story in April. So definitely tune in for April because April is also Autistic Awareness Month. So definitely be aware in April. We are, got some great tea ahead of us. Like I said, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so to our YouTube channel, which is Liz Tea Time with Liz. Uh, Liz Clark on Tea Time. And there you can catch up on all your tea, all of the seasons as well. So, therefore, you will not miss out on anything. There have been some amazing seasons. We are on season 4, so definitely catch up on your tea. Also, you can like us and subscribe on IG, Instagram, which that's what it stands for, or Facebook, where we post and have questions on Fridays and just all the fun tea stuff that goes on through the week. All right, so let's get into this tea. Like I said, I'm super excited to have this amazing guest here tonight. She goes by LR, but some know her as Latoya. She is a life coach. She is a founder of Sheaves Foundation. And I know she is much more, but I will bring her up at this time. Miss LR, hello, ma'am.
Hi, hello. I am so glad to be here.
We are so glad to have you here on Tea Time. How is your Monday going?
I mean, the devil tried it.
Girl, listen, all night he's been trying it.
I was like, okay, really? Because this computer has been updated all day, and like now all of a sudden you need to finish. Stop.
Yeah, listen, I
Like,
get it. I get it. As you can see, we've had some technical difficulties ourselves. All of a sudden, we're not
right.
streaming on Facebook, and I was silent for a couple minutes.
You know
But
what? But the
nevertheless,
party must go on.
we are here. Listen, and we made it, right?
Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here. Like I said, we are super excited to hear about your story. But before we get into all that good tea,
Yes.
just give us a little bit about yourself. Tell the people where you're from and so forth.
Sure. So I am originally from Greenville, Mississippi, and I have migrated here to Minnesota, and I've been here 30 plus years now. So I guess I'm a Minnesotan by way of Mississippi right now.
All right.
I have 4.5 children. So I say the half because I have a bonus baby who is 6 years old, a bonus daughter,
Mm,
and I have my 4 children and one grand diva who is also autistic. So
oh,
I know the struggle. I know
yes,
it
yes.
so
Awesome, awesome.
on. And I am an empowerment lifestyle coach as well as the founder of the She Foundation. Like you said, it's SHEE, Sisters
Yes,
Healing, Evolving, and Empowered, where we both work with both justice and non justice involved females on life skills and how to make it happen.
yes.
So that's what we do.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And just to give you a little snippet, everyone, this is what her life coach website, LR
Yes.
Wilson's, her website. So if you go out, you can check out all her amazing testimonies, get some info on her, and just even book a session.
Yes.
And because I know you'll definitely won't regret that, as we will get into some more tea tonight. And then also, as she talked about her foundation um, tonight. I want to share that as well. No,
Thank
and,
you.
and let me stop there. And we're going to try this one. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, her foundation, and she does, I'm assuming you still are going to be doing some events
Oh,
throughout the
absolutely.
year. So,
Yes.
definitely go ahead and follow her, get the info, so you can stay tuned some of those events that are coming up. I'm excited because now I am in the location
I know, right?
to be a part. So I am super, super geeked. You all,
Yes.
and I will post up her information throughout the show as well, so you all can get that info. And if you are listening by our podcast, I will definitely put it in
Yes.
the description for you to check her out as well. All right.
Right.
Well,
But why I look
like
like
I
a 911 operator?
said,
Okay, girl. Like,
listen, at all costs, like I said, we can hear you clearly though. The thing is,
okay, that's all that
we
matters.
can hear because we got to hear the T clearly. We got to hear the T clearly. So, the first question I want to ask is, what inspired you to want to tell your story, to reach out about the advertisement? So, yeah, what inspired
Absolutely. So, what inspired me to want to tell my story is that I want women to understand that there is a tomorrow. Like, there's there we go through a lot of things, not just women only, but I can only speak for women because
you?
that's who I am.
Right.
Like, we
No,
go
I
through a
get
lot
it.
of things, and in the moment, we feel like we are dying and
Mm,
everything is over. And I wanted to share the fact that you're bigger than that and you're more than that. You're more than your circumstances that you went through. And those things build you to where
yeah,
you're going. And your journey tells the story. So I was elated to see that you were like signing guests on. I was like, oh yeah, I got to get on here and tell this. I got
listen,
to get on here
yes.
and talk about the come up.
Yes, no, and I am so grateful that you did. And a lot of times people get scared or they're shy and they, overthink about their journey to where
Hmm.
they're like, maybe next time, or another opportunity will come up. But I'm so glad that you did step out and share that. Like you said, us as women in this journey of life,
Hmm.
it helps to hear another woman's journey thus far. What have
Right.
you seen? What have you done? And what have you gotten into? And what'd you get out?
Right.
No, so no, I really admire that. I really admire that, and we say thank you once again. Um, so where does your story begin? Where does LR start?
So in the process of finding where I was going, what I was about to do, how I was going to do it, all that came about due to the demise of my marriage. And that demise sent me into a spiraling um, depression, uh, suicidal ideations, abusing sleeping pills and alcohol to sleep, to get through the pain, to get through the day, and
Mm,
then rising the next day as if nothing happened. It was literally like Groundhog's Day. Like if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, where it's over and over again, the same things over and over again. And then I found that I was grieving for one,
mm,
but I was grieving in a way that was not healthy for myself. And during that time, before the demise of the marriage, a lot of other things happened in the marriage.
mm.
For one, I had an affair. So with that came, issues and obviously, and
Yeah, no.
things that, you know, I needed to I needed to own up to in order to get to a place where I was comfortable with myself, owning what I did, going through the process of therapy, going through just acknowledging who I was and what I was doing, like taking ownership of it. That's the biggest thing in itself. Through all of that, opened up the door for me to be able to talk to other women who had a lot of things going on on the same realm, and also talked about how we as women, moms, caregivers, what have you, how we put ourselves on the back burner continuously in order to push everybody else forward
Mm,
to get to their things and do their things. And all this time we're putting ourselves on the back burner until one day we don't even recognize, who we
listen,
are or what we're doing,
that
because we've
part.
been doing everything for everybody else this whole time.
Mhm. Listen, and I just had that kind of conversation with a friend today. Like, listen, we got to put ourselves first, sis. We got to do that. But that is super hard to kind of face and see. But we'll get into that to you a little later. But I want to ask the question, as you had talked about and started with your story with marriage. How old were you when you decided to get married? Oh no, did she freeze? Oh goodness, I think we're having another technical difficulty, but we're gonna make it. I'm gonna remove her for a second and bring her back up. Nope. All right, I'm gonna let her fix her technical difficulty. While she's doing that, like I said, I'm gonna share her social media platforms and her websites again. You can definitely reach out to her if you are looking for a life coach. You could definitely reach out to her and her services at LR Wilson Consulting LLC. Her website is posted right here, and I also will post that later for you all to check out. We shared that website earlier, and then also her She Foundation. Where she is helping women in the community, whether you are struggling with divorce or whatever the issue may be in your life, this foundation will help you find that hope again. You can check out that website once again at www.theshefoundation.org. Here is what that looks like, so that you kind of know what is going on their foundation page. They have different community events. If you are here in the Minnesota area, you definitely want to tune into those events that happen throughout the year. And I will show you once again her life coach website so that you can see what that looks like. Once again, you can go on there and you can schedule your one on one or group participation session with her. It also gives her bio and all her acknowledgments and even some testimonies of those who have used her services. Even if you are a corporation that is looking for a life coach or some training, she also does that. So she does amazing things. Definitely let someone know if you know someone that is looking for a life coach, looking for somebody to help them through a tough situation. But let's also take this moment to go ahead and share the broadcast while she is working out those technical difficulties. Like she said, she'll be here soon. But go ahead, if you are on YouTube, which you probably should be tonight, definitely make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. For nights like this, where Facebook is not our friend, but YouTube is, so that you can catch up on the tea as we are journeying through our tea time with Liz. And there we go. She is back, you all. Here she comes. I'll give her a second to adjust. All right. There she is. All right.
Hey, y'all, once again.
We're back. We're back. We're back. All right. So I was just sharing with everyone once again your websites, your platforms, so that they can definitely reach out to you again. But as you had started with your story, you said that you had started with you marriage. You got
Yes.
married. So what? How old were you when you got married? When did you decide to get to?
Ooh, let me see the second one. I was, how old was I? Like for real, 2001. So look at them. Math is not my strong point.
That's all right. That's all right.
To whatever 1974, 2001 minus 1974, however old I was then.
Okay, so roughly in the maybe 30s?
Yes, let's go with that. Let's
Okay.
go with that one.
Okay. All right. I'm not quick tonight, but we're gonna go with it. All right. So, so you were kind of in a mature type of stage of knowing what you wanted in marriage,
You
and
would think.
okay, okay.
You would think.
Expound on that for us a little bit. What was your mindset
However,
then?
there was a first marriage that we don't really count or talk about because I was 16 at that time. So I really didn't know what I wanted. And then also, I had my child very young. I had my daughter at 16 years old. So I had never lived a life of freedom, that whole time. I had never lived a life of freedom. I went straight from having a daughter into a marriage that really didn't last at all. Like I said, we were both young. And then into another relationship with having children, family, doing the whole family dynamics and all of that. And then so you would think at that point in my life, it was a time where I knew exactly what I wanted, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. But I didn't, and it wasn't until everything started spiraling out of control that I actually realized what it was I wanted and how me living a life that was not of me. Like I didn't get to go to, the frat parties and, the college life and do all those things. I had a baby. I didn't get to do all that. I did get to graduate a year early, but outside of that, I didn't experience the life of college and all those things until I was a full grown adult with kids and a career and all those things. So it was literally like backtracking my life is what I felt like I needed to do or what I had to do, things that I had missed out on. And quite honestly, I had missed out on nothing, you
I
know.
was gonna say, do you really feel like you missed out, or did you kind of get the revelation like, okay, this was it?
This is not it. Like, oh, this ain't it. This is what they were talking about. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure it would have been different had I been at a different stage in my life or earlier on in my life, obviously without children, without responsibilities, things like that. But that changes things.
Yes.
And you have to be able to adapt to it. I didn't really realize it all until I actually went to therapy.
Mm,
And um, I'm the oldest in my family. So I
yes,
had to
I'm the
look after
oldest.
my
I am
sisters,
too. Yes, I get it.
so I looked after my sisters while my mom was at work. She was a single parent. So I'm watching kids then. Like I've been watching kids since I was like 6 years old. I've been able to take care of somebody else. And then to get to the age where I'm at and I'm still taking care of kids, like
Right.
it's like never ending. And you never get that break that
Mhm.
you feel that you are due.
Mm,
Well, I shouldn't say you, like me. I
right.
can only speak for myself that I was due. And people say, well, at this age, you should have already known what you wanted. I said, absolutely, I should have. But I also didn't live a life like everybody else lived.
Right.
I've been taking care of kids forever. Like, I'm tired. I want to
Yeah.
live life for me now, you know?
Right. That part. And it's hard sometimes. You have to go through the struggle
Hmm.
to see you. It's
Yes.
sad, but sometimes you do. You gotta go through the struggle to see you and finally face you. And I'm definitely in somewhat of that season of my own life.
Hmm.
And it's hard. You don't want to face you some days.
Girl,
You
okay.
don't want to face you some days, but it's definitely worth it. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And what helped you escape these dark places, once you started losing everything, like you said, kind of spiraled around or
Mhm.
spiraled down. So, kind of talk to us about that part.
To being open, honest, and transparent as possible, God absolutely was there to help me get through this because there is no way I should be sitting here right now talking to you. At the amount of sleeping pills that I was taking and drinking tequila with it to drink it down and wine to go to sleep at night, I should not even be here talking to you. So God definitely,
Thank you.
many times I don't know who listening or who does what, but baby, I done got down in the closet and sprawled out crying, snotting, like praying that, something happens,
Yeah.
to help me get to a place where I needed to be. And then on top of that, the family support as well as my friends, the friends that didn't just go along with what you're doing is okay type of thing, those friends that gonna call you on your stuff, you know what I mean? And
So,
then, but still be there for you, you
right.
know? And then my therapist. Like I tell everybody I got a white therapist with black tendencies. Like
Oh,
she
yes. I love it. I love
like,
it. I love it.
like she knew the deal. Like I had been in therapy for like 10 years at that point. Like 10
Wow.
years off and on, you know. And then she wasn't even taking clients anymore when all this stuff happened and I was spiraling out of control and stuff. And I sent her an email and she opened up the doors for me to come back in and sit with her. So that was a blessing in itself. You know, when God puts people in your life that can help you navigate through things, you know,
Yeah.
you can't see it yourself. One thing that we talked about is how I came in owning everything I did. She's like, you're one of the very few people that have come in and say, yep, I did it. Yep, I did this. I did that. I didn't make no excuses for it outside of myself. You know, I was like, it was a conscious decision. Like,
Yeah.
she was like, what? I was like legit. Like, I made a conscious decision to do it. So that's what happened. It's nobody's fault but my own. But she's like, people don't do that, you know. But that
Don't.
took some work to get there. Like, I ain't just like overnight be like, hey, it was me, you know, because I did a whole lot
Right.
of lying before then, you know.
Right. No, that's real. So let's talk about that a little bit because I think that is something we struggle with. We like to be the victim or we like to play the victim role
Yep.
in a lot of things in our life, but there are times where we are the persecutor,
Yeah,
the one that causes the
absolutely. That's why I said
damage,
we can't be
right?
the victim and the perpetrator.
That.
Which role you choosing in the movie? Like,
You are all things? I don't think so. Not in this case, right? So, I guess what helped you to want to own that and just say, "Hey, this is what it is."
you know, it was weighing on me real heavy,
Mm,
and I like it wasn't something that like he like somebody told him or he found out or something. I told him. You know
mm,
what I mean? Because I'll never ever forget it. It was July 7th.
mm.
And my July 7th, 2017, my therapist was going crazy because I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell him. And she was like, wait, what? Like, what? Wait, what?
She's like,
You
"Let's
sure?
talk
You
about
are
this." The therapist is asking to talk about something.
like,
I love
let's
it. I
let's
love
let's
it.
just sit down and think this through and blah blah blah. You know, I was like, no, I was like, it's time. I was
Wow.
like, because it's been weighing on me. It was so heavy on me, like so heavy on me. And like I had to get it off, type of thing. When I tell you this lady was so crazy, girl, going crazy, like, oh Lord, she's calling, making sure she's watching the news. She didn't know if I was gonna be on the news as a victim. But I was like, girl, stop. I wouldn't have been on the victim side.
She said, "I would have been the one locked up." Sorry.
Right, right. I would have
It
needed that paperwork for you to come in and say, yeah, you've been
paperwork. Do
seeing
you
me.
have the bill? Do you have that bill? That's what I need.
But it was like legit. It had been weighing on me so heavily. Like I needed to get it out. I needed to take it off. And it wasn't, to be totally honest, it wasn't until I did that everything started to come into place.
Wow.
Because I needed to do that cleanse. That's what I needed to get that off of me. So once I did it, everything else started falling. I'm not going to say everything was, hunky dory and a bed of roses and all that, but a lot of things started falling in place because I began to understand who I was and what I was, how I wanted to move, what I wanted to do, what I was and was not going to accept going forward. All those things, they were defined in that moment after that boulder was lifted off of me.
That's amazing. And there's such a freedom in living in truth.
Yes.
Whether it's good or
Yes.
bad, how it may hurt somebody, but there is a freedom in living in that truth. And so were you prepared for the reaction? Did you know what you were gonna, what was your feelings kind of going through that?
I was not prepared for the reaction. because I thought in my mind, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it then it'll be all good. We'll start over fresh and new, you know.
Right.
We already been through the worst. It's fine. Like, well, we can do this now. That was not what happened
Right.
at all.
Talk about
What
it.
happened was, okay, I'm done. Like it's over, done with type of thing. And at that point, I was like blindsided because I'm like, wait, what? Like I felt like I didn't like told you, I didn't say what it was. Like everything's clean now. You
Mm,
know, that was not the case. I had to accept it and respect it, you know, because I can only talk about my truth and what it was I did and, you know, went through and everything. But at the end of the day, it was probably one of the worst things that ever happened for me, if that makes sense.
it makes perfect sense to me, but I get it. It makes perfect sense to me. Because like I said, you know, sometimes we have to go through the hard things to understand the amazing things in life. And
Hmm.
so, you know, I get it. It's hard to explain, but I get it.
Yeah, because I was just like, okay, this can't get no worse for one,
That
but
part.
this is the best thing ever. Like I didn't know I had all this stuff.
No, and I think it's that rock bottom, right? It's that, you know, you haven't hit bottom until you hit rock bottom type of feeling.
Yes, when you
You
tasting the gravel, I was
listen.
tasting the gravel, baby.
The sandwich. I get it, and but it's there. You find yourself. You see some realities, some uglies, some goods, some bads. You know, all
Yeah.
of it,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
just like that, you're picking up the pieces. And so, where did you start? You know, in this lost place, where did you start?
So I think the you know how you go through, I don't know if you've ever been married or what have you, but when you go through a divorce, for me it literally felt like death. Like
Definitely.
it felt like I was grieving, like it was death. Like, and mind you, I had been with this man since I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So we had kids, houses, mortgages, cars, you know, drama, you know, all everything. And then I'll never forget, on the way to our very first divorce hearing, I was all the way there. I was driving there thinking, okay, am I really gonna do this? Is this really what I want to do? Is even all the way there driving to the courthouse, I still was not sure that that was something that I wanted to do, you know. And I got there to the courthouse, got in court. The judge called my name and I started crying. Like she said, "Are you Latoya Wilson?" I was over then, like because I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't ready, but this needed to happen. You
Yeah.
know, it needed to happen not just for me, but for him. You know,
Yeah.
because that's what was, I guess, destined to happen. But
Well,
I cried. She's like, "Are you okay? Would you like to go on? Would you like to read?" Nope, let's go on. It I'm like that. Rip that band-aid right off. Let's see where
right,
we can go. You
right.
know, type of thing. That's the type of person I am. But then the second and third hearing happened. By the third hearing, I was fine then. But like that first initial one,
Yeah,
that first initial, like that shock, like, wait, what? Like this is really happening for real type of thing.
right.
And then that was in that moment is when I realized what it was I needed to do, when I needed to do it. It was a process going through. I still cried all the way to the second hearing. You know, like I was still on that thing because I was not ready. I was not sure. I was not 100% sold on doing it because I still loved him. You know, even though all the things we've been through, everything, you know, it's still at the end of the day, this is somebody I've spent more than 2 decades with.
Right.
You
That's
know, so yes. So you know that's not, and people say, well, you just gave it up so easily. You don't know what did happen in them 2.5 decades. Like you only know what people show you. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. You
that
don't know the trials, tribulations, the ups, the downs, the laughs, the loves that happen in people's lives. You only know what people show you.
exactly.
So
Exactly. And it's so I think divorce is pretty hard. I'm not going to say it's the hardest thing because I'm sure there are, you know,
mhm,
it's to each their own, right? But
right.
it can be one of the hardest things out here
Yeah.
because you have so many different opinions. You're dealing with your own emotions. And like you
Right.
said,
And I don't need y'all's. Like,
that, okay? That. I don't need more baggage as, you know, time goes on. And then, you know, like you said, you're trying to process it, but it's like a grieving process because
hmm
you're trying to begin a life now without this person, like you said, when it's decades. Granted, my marriage was only 3-4 years.
Hmm.
So it wasn't as long, but still it was long enough to get used
Right.
to something. And so um to have to change that. And then I think what's worse though in this grieving process is you got to still see them.
Yes, girl, I was about to say that.
Like,
Like they still walking around. Like,
listen, listen, it's like out of sight, out of mind is easy, but when you still got to see them, like, and sometimes you're not ready,
not ready.
that
Okay.
girl, listen, not ready at all, but you deal with it. It's growing pains. It's definitely growing pains, but so what would you say to someone who is kind of going through a divorce or going through the divorce process? Is there life after divorce?
There is definitely life after. I am proof of it.
Yes. Okay.
I call it, that's the glow up. Yeah,
Right.
that's when you on the glow up.
Okay. Okay.
But to get there, you gotta glow down.
Mhm.
You got to glow down. You have to be able to understand and own whatever part you had in the demise. It's not a one-sided thing. I
Yeah.
can tell you that now. It's not one-sided. Not a decision might be one-sided to go ahead and end it all, but there are some things that happened way before that moment happened, that it was done. And you have to be able to recognize it and own your part in it.
Amen.
Until you do that, you will forever be stuck with it. Like that's something that will literally ride you because you haven't come to terms with it yet. So once you're able to come to terms with it, accept it, once you do that, it's on. And take responsibility. We don't want to just say accept it. We want you to take responsibility for it. It's gonna be ugly. I can tell you that now. It's
Yeah.
gonna be ugly, but you know what? That's what they made makeup for. So you put on your makeup and you look pretty going through it.
I love that. I love that. And I'm a whole makeup queen. So I love it. I love it.
Right.
Um,
Right. So you have to, like, literally, I'm telling, whoever it is, you have to go through that. If you've ever seen have you ever seen Shawshank Redemption and that movie Shawshank, and they have to like wade through of the sewer to get to the other side? That's exactly what has to happen.
Wow.
Exactly.
But I ain't never seen it, but I get what you're saying.
Yes.
But
Yes. Like I didn't know if this was a PG show or not. So I just said it's the sewer that they're wading through to come out on the other side from prison. And in order to get out, that's literally what it is. You have to wade through it all in order to get to the other side. Otherwise, you'll be stuck there in the sewer.
I love it. I love it. But it's getting through it, right? And so,
Yes.
What was your journey like finding you? I guess so. It started, I'm assuming there.
Mhm.
So how was that journey finding you? What were some
And then some
milestones?
steps for that was literally being able to write down what it was that I needed and what I looked for in other people. Because you have to understand that people are not going to do you like you do you, or you do them. You know what I mean? You don't get you from somebody else.
That's good.
So I had to be able to write that down and understand how I was going to maneuver this thought process into other people. Like, because I live a life of zero expectations. I have not always been at that place. So when you get to zero expectations, you don't expect nothing from nobody. So you don't have the opportunity to be let down. You don't have the opportunity for somebody not to show up for you. If they show up, great, wonderful. If they don't, I wasn't expecting it no way, type of thing. But I had to get there. I had to get to that place. That is a place of solitude and peace. That's when I got this tattoo that says serenity on my wrist, because when I was going through my time, I had to just looked at my arm to say serenity, to get that peace of mindset in my mind. So being able to mastermind things in a way that I want other people to see me and to treat me is how I got the word out to everybody. That's like the easiest way I can explain it, because I wanted other women to feel like I do. I wanted other women to know that you got this. My tagline is, you already have what you need to succeed. And that's not just professionally, that's personally, everything. Like, we already have it in us.
We
You just
do.
have to pull it out.
We do.
You know what I mean? So that's how I got to that place of being able to spread what it was I needed other people to see in me, in themselves. You know, I've always been a nurturer. I've always been somebody that I will do and do and do and do for you, and don't worry about you doing for me, which is a blessing and a curse, you know?
Right.
So
Get it. Totally get it.
always been optimistic, all of that. I was telling on another show, my therapist said to me, "You are so optimistic." She said, "The house could be on fire and you would be out there saying, 'It's okay,' passing out popsicles and buckets of water
Right.
to put it out."
Listen, it will just be a moment. It's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, listen, I am the same exact way. I get
The house on the ground, the ashes left, and you out there
it.
hollering, "Don't worry about it. We're going to rebuild tomorrow."
Listen, we'll find a scrap or something.
All right.
I totally get it. I love it. I love it. But I think that is a journey, though. I think whether going through divorce or a hard time, just as a woman, period,
Mhm.
being married, like you said, you can lose yourself.
Yes,
Being a mother is
it
definitely
definitely.
definitely a journey where you can lose yourself. But being able to revisit that journey of you, and now, like you said, to get others on board to respect the new you, or not necessarily respect the new you, but to know you, who you truly are,
Right.
what you're really worth, and now be able to put verbiage or put action to
Mhm.
it. I think speaks a lot of volumes. Now, we talked, prior to this, and you had said something in our conversation about love and survival. And
Yes.
I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. As you were talking about, the relationship, we don't know what happened throughout your, years of marriage, but you said there was something different between love and survival. What is the difference? Kind of talk to us about that.
Sure. The conversation that we had, and the conversation that I had with a lot of people, is about when two people get together and how they're raised. If
Right.
one person is raised on love and one person is raised on survival, there's going to be clashes. There will be clashes,
Yeah.
because this person raised on love, that's all they know is love.
Right.
They're nurtured. They are, positive things happen, like positive things in their life. They're pushed to be their best. Versus those who are, and this is my opinion as well as how I have come to know it, and versus those raised on survival, somebody that's, always looking for their next meal, don't have, doesn't have that positive influence in their life. They're always being called names or, different things like that. Those clash, even when you are raising children. When you speak things into them, speak things into their existence, that happens. Calling kids like, "Oh, you're so stupid, you're so this," those types of things. And somebody that's raised on love is like, "What? Why would you even be saying that to them? They're not stupid," versus some. So those dynamics play a very, very intense role in relationships. So know what you're getting into when you get into it, because that's raised on love and that raised on survival, that gonna always clash unless there is a healthy median that both of you can come to, in order, like, you learn from this person learns from you. If somebody has never been, I shouldn't even say never been nurtured, but been nurtured far less than quote unquote normal, that's going to show. That's going to show over time. I don't care how long you mask it.
Yeah.
It will show. It will show. Versus somebody raised on love, somebody who's always going to be there for you. So there's a doormat. So now they're a doormat. You're using them because they love you, and they're raised on love. They don't want nothing bad, to happen, and they always been there for you.
Right.
So, and this other person is on survival mode, like just trying to get by. To me, that's like scamming. You know what I mean? Like, I always know a scam I'm on to the next scam because I know. Oh, she over there smiling. Let me go scam her.
Right,
That type
right,
of thing.
right. Just
That type of
innocent
thing.
out here,
So
innocent out here.
that clash, baby, it will take you somewhere. So
Wow.
when you're linking up, link to somebody that's on the same side. If you can, unless, like I said, there's a healthy median that you can come to.
That's good. No, that's good. And that's true. If y'all tuned in to Coach Ty, he helped us with some of that
Good.
survival and love. So, being careful of those who are out here to manipulate and have somewhat
Yes.
narcissistic ways, that you are not pride on, in innocent places when you're just trying to find love, child.
Right.
It's already hard enough. Let's not make it any harder, right?
But
So
next go round, I'm doing business only.
that
Love.
part.
I'm gonna pull out my Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it?
Yes. Listen, because those things do kind of damage you. It gives you
Yeah,
wisdom, but it does kind of damage you in those
it
things.
does not kinda. It does
It
damage
does.
you because now I'm looking like everybody suspect.
No, but that's real. It's real,
Like it could be something they like have the greatest, purest intentions. I'm already looking upside your head. Why are you speaking to me? No, because I
No, but
always
it's
think it's a
real.
motive.
That's real.
So
That's real. That's real. But that, I think, once again, that's knowing your value. That's knowing who you are.
mhm.
It's not that necessarily you're turned off. Then we would sit down and be like, okay, maybe therapy is your next goal, not
Right,
love right now.
right.
But just being cautious. That just shows
Yep,
that you're protecting yourself and knowing your value.
right.
So um where did things start to get lighter then? You kind of started, finding yourself journey, you started putting words to who you were, letting people know. So then when did you find the road just getting lighter and lighter and you really doing you?
To be quite honest, the road started begin getting lighter when I went to my first model call because I always wanted to model. Always, always,
Mhm.
always wanted to model. And it was two things that happened. One, the model call, because I always wanted to model. I was always, too fat and too short to model. I had pretty face, but I was too fat and too short to model. Then there was this thing called plus size model. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Let me try
Right.
it.
I love
So
it.
I went to the casting call for the plus size model, plus size fine modeling thing, which is where I met Liz at.
Yeah.
I went to that and got it the first go round. I was like, oh snap, I did it. So that was one. And then the second thing I always wanted to do was spoken word at an open mic night.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So I did a spoken word passage at open mic night and I got a standing ovation. Had never been on a stage ever to do open mic or spoken word or nothing. And I got a standing ovation. Those two things were pivotal in how I was able to move to the next level because those are things that I have always wanted to do and never was able to do it.
Wow.
Never was able to do it not because of me, but because I was too busy making sure everybody else had what they needed. That I never branched out and did what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
So those two things were pivotal in my resurrection,
Yeah.
to being me, those two things. And I'm grateful for those opportunities because I don't think had they not ever happened, I don't know where like I would be now. But those things gave me the confidence that I needed because I've
Mm.
always been confident in my work. Always been confident in the way I, handle things and everything. Things that I was not confident in was my relationship and the things that I wanted to do, but was always had in the back of my mind. No, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got, all the other things that I need to do as a mother and a wife. Those things.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, as a wife, as a mother, you always put your family first
yes,
before you. But I think women are starting to find a healthy balance because
Yeah.
you start to see the effect that it does have on your spouse or your child, because you're not the best version of you. and,
Right. Right.
and
And all this time you're thinking you were, but like you were horrible.
listen, running on fumes, sis. Running on fumes, okay? Definitely so, definitely so.
Right.
But that is why we have people like you who we can go to life coaching and help us refine ourselves and get that jump start. And there is one thing too that you mentioned, as you were talking about, finding yourself and even going through the divorce process, was therapy, and maybe even during your marriage, you said you may have gone to therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so, how important did you find that to be for your life?
Man, when I tell you that was like one of the best things, one of the best decisions I ever made was to go to therapy, because in our community, in the Black and brown communities, therapy automatically means that something wrong, which
Okay,
something is wrong. So let's start there. Let's go ahead and acknowledge something
that
is wrong.
part, that part.
But there's a stigma about therapy and mental health. Like your mental health, like, oh, they must be crazy, or they must be this, or that old thing, what happens in the house stays in the house. That's the problem. It's to stayed in the house, and we ain't dealing with what's in the house. So all those years of not dealing with things, and then you go to therapy, and it's like this release, especially if you have a therapist, a good therapist.
Yeah,
Therapists that don't tell you what to do, but they give you all the tools to do what you need to do.
yeah,
And then they get you thinking. Like, they get you to think like, wait, what? Oh, I could have did. So, and that's the beauty of therapy when you have the right therapist.
yeah.
I've gotten into so many conversations with people saying, well, Black people need Black therapists and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if that's what you fancy, that's you. I want a therapist that is going to help me get to where I need to be.
Right,
They can be purple. I don't care. Like
right.
I said, I got a white therapist, and I tell people all the time, she's an old white lady with Black tendencies. Like,
I love it.
because she knows I say that about her, and she just laughs because she gave me the right
Mm,
to be me,
I love it.
to talk about my stuff, to get it all out, to tell other people about, like, not being ashamed of. I don't say I'm not regretful, but I'm also not ashamed.
Right.
Because things happen. And like I said, it's a conscious decision that we make. So I think therapy is one of the best decisions I have ever made in this life, to get to a place of solitude and peace, and, not to really just like not give a damn. Like, it's like, here it is. Here I am. This is how I'm showing up. This is who I am. I'm never disrespectful. I'm going to give the same level of respect that you give me, if not more, because I'm one of them people that was raised on love. So I'm probably giving you too much,
That part. That
but
part.
you just go with it right now,
Right, right.
So that therapy definitely was one of the best things. And I've had people say, well, you could have told that to somebody else. Absolutely, I could have told it to somebody else and still been stuck in the same place I am.
That, that.
So, and I tell people all the time, I'm a life coach. I'm not a therapist. There's a difference.
Okay. Okay, that.
Oh,
That's it.
so I'm going to give you life choices, not therapeutic reasons or resources. What I'm going to give you is life choice, because this is your life. And even, to be quite honest, you can go into a therapist and tell them about everybody but you. That's still not helping you.
Listen,
So
that's showing that you're still living in the victim role.
exactly. You have not moved to the starring role yet.
No, we have not. No, we have not. But I'm so glad that you did share that, and thank you so much. Because like you said, it is kind of frowned upon, but it is so essential,
Mhm.
even as a believer in
Yes.
God. We have our spiritual guiders and leaders, but
Right.
when it comes to us naturally in our minds, it's your mind. it's your
Yeah.
brain that needs the healing and the deliverance. And
Right.
sometimes that has to come through a trained professional doctor
Yeah.
that can lead you and guide you. Like you said, they ask you questions, they get you to thinking, but more in a positive way. They start opening gates into a different light that
Right,
you
right.
could
Something
not
you would have never thought about
bro,
going
listen,
to.
like, what?
Right,
I just found me a whole new life, you know?
right. And I'm living that whole new life.
And definitely living it and definitely living it. But you're right, some people got to find that one that, but whatever suits you, if you know you need it, definitely go for it.
Hmm.
I am definitely an advocate for therapy or counseling in any shape or form. It definitely pays to be able to get those things off your shoulders.
Yes.
So it's not like you can go tell a friend because
Right. And this is a neutral party. So they have
that
no skin in the game at all.
none whatsoever, which makes it even better. you know,
Right.
not to say that just professionally they have to hold these things accountable or confidential, but yourself ain't gonna get out there in these streets.
Absolutely.
That part.
Absolutely. Because I
And
don't care how many times they say I ain't gonna tell nobody.
that
They did not sign a Tennessee Martin. Like,
that. So, as much as, we can appreciate our friends and even loved ones, it's always good to get some professional help. So,
yes.
also want to give a shout out to Plus Size Finds. I
Yes.
didn't know that was your journey too, because
Yes.
that was
Yes.
as well. Like that whole modeling opportunity, I think changed a lot of us lives.
Hmm.
Being plus size and but yet beautiful and being able to
Right.
walk in that confidence now without being judged,
Yes.
but uplifted and beautified, definitely gives you a different type of confidence,
Yes.
child. We were
Yes.
breaking the net in 2020.
Right.
So I was going to show our calendar, but I did not grab it in time tonight. But I'll definitely maybe post a picture this week on Tea Time page so you all can check out what we
Yes. Because we
on that.
did that.
Listen. And it was that. It was that. So but that's amazing. How opportunities like that and just going after that, not being afraid, and you may even been afraid,
Mhm.
but going even afraid and seeing how God will confirm and give you
Yes.
confidence to
Absolutely.
build and to go forward. So next, let's talk about these foundations and these life coaching opportunities.
Yes.
Where did this come from? Where did this start? What got you going in these avenues?
So the foundation itself, the nonprofit was given to me like 10 or 11 years ago, but I wasn't ready.
Mm.
Because and then one night it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's when God wakes you up, because you be sleeping so good.
So
And
good.
then,
So good.
and then God woke me up and said it's time. Like literally, that's what I heard. It's time. I was like, I'm sleepy, like,
Right. Like, can we
but
talk about this in the morning?
right. I mean, we got a couple hours.
But I get it. He said,
So
"Oh,
in that moment, I literally could not go back to sleep. Let's start there, because until you follow
yeah,
directions,
right.
you
That's
cannot go back to sleep.
that's it.
And I was told to get up and write it down. So I started writing. I started a Facebook group at first. It was a Facebook group where, it was for females only. It was the She group as well, Sisters Healing, Evolving, and Empowered, where I had resources about domestic violence, resources about meditation, mental health. You could just come there and you were in a safe space to talk about whatever it is you needed to talk about. A lot of people really did it on the outside, like they would message me and we would talk that way, versus putting things, in the group. Even though the group was private, people still, got trust issues. I feel it. I understand it.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, that's facts. Yes.
Yeah. So out of that group, I launched, I had my first women's conference last year, which
Yeah.
was in Cabo. And there were about 50 females there.
Yeah.
95% of them I had never met a day in my life.
Wow.
And they all met me on social media. And so even some of the speakers, like, I was like, well, I'm having a conference. I'm like, I can't pay you because I'm not charging anybody for the conference. They're just coming over like they have to pay for their own room board, and it's all inclusive. So, in their airfare, and I buy them stuff, like I give them stuff like goodie bags and stuff.
Right.
And they was like, okay, then. So, and so that gave them exposure as well for their businesses. And then that first conference went so well. So the second conference is this year in Jamaica. So we're doing it in Jamaica, and I'm expecting more people. But it's like, had I not started the group and then followed up with waking up at 3 a.m. and writing things down that needed to happen, I don't know that it would have happened. So that was pivotal. That wake up at 3 a.m. that was pivotal. That made everything like catapult. It's like, it's time. It's a nonprofit. I don't know nothing about no nonprofit. I can tell you that now. Now I know how to make money on my other side, on the L.R. Wilson Consulting side. On the LLC side, I know how to make money. But this nonprofit world, this a whole different beast, So, and I didn't know, and I just know that, God brought me to it, so he gonna bring me through it. So I don't worry about it. I was like, oh, okay. So, and then we had our first fundraiser last year as well. In October, I did the Harlem Nights Gala, which was a fundraiser for the She Foundation. And the Vikings gave, the Lynx gave to it as well. The Minnesota Wild gave items for auction to the foundation that we auctioned off. And it was a Harlem Nights Gala. So the theme was Harlem Nights, because we gave homage to the Harlem Renaissance, where we were affluent Black people, had it popping, so that's what it was. And then this year, the event is October 14th. At Edinburgh Golf Course, Edinburgh, USA Golf Course, the same place as last year. But this year we're doing a 70s theme. So we're coming in all our 70s attire.
Oh, I'm there.
And it's and it's a fundraiser for the foundation. So, so we can get things popping and get things off. I am looking for sponsors right now, as well as community and company partnerships in order to make this happen. And they'll, of course, be mentioned on all social media platforms, as well as a booklet that happens, with all the sponsors in it. So that information, you can go on the website for that. And then L.R. Wilson Consulting on the other side is my empowerment coaching business. And I'm doing companies as well. So I go into companies and help them with, mediation, time management, employees who forget that they work for the company and they don't own the company, things like that.
That part, let's go back to that.
I help empower them and give them a voice. However, their voice is a little bit lower because you don't own the company.
That part.
So I do that, as well as some individual coaching and diversity, equity, and inclusion, where I go into companies and do that training for those employees as well. So I'm moving more into a corporate space, but I still have the personalized empowerment coaching sessions that I do, because that's my platform. That's my foundation. So that's still there for those who want to do one-on-one empowerment lifestyle coaching.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. I posted the She Foundation while she was talking about that, and there is her life coaching or consulting.
Yes.
If you are interested in that, or know even your company if they are in need,
yes, I can get you there.
Call her up, hit her up. Definitely reach out to her in that. So we are coming to a close. Once again, Miss L.R., we thank you so much for joining us here tonight, for sharing the tea, for giving us insight and wisdom, even throughout your life. God is amazing. He has done amazing things through your life. So
Absolutely.
Once again, we thank you for sharing that. So in these last few minutes, I like to ask every guest to just leave us with, one last bit of wisdom or advice that you would give the viewers here tonight.
The last bit of wisdom or advice I would give the viewers is always show up authentic. I don't care what you do, show up as your authentic self, because that's what resonates with people. And that's why people will continue to support you, be with you, help you, guide you, and put you into places that you never dreamed you would be in. So remain authentic in all that you do.
I love it. there you have it, y'all. Stay authentic, okay? And I plan to do that. So thank you again, Miss LR. You all hit her up. Like I said, I'll post this information on the Tea Time page throughout this week. Also, for those who are listening by podcast, thank you for tuning in. And we'll definitely put this information in the description for you to also reach out to her. Once again, we thank you all for tuning in to another Tea Time special. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next time here on Tea Time. Everyone, have a great night.